Hey YouTube, what's happening? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update on Litecoin. Right now we're at $59.56. We're up 0.44%. And you know, guys, we just really have not been moving a ton. And that's where I feel like there is going to be some type of a violent break either to the upside or the downside in the days to come. You know, we typically in this space, we don't travel for too long sideways. And that's really what we've been doing. We've been around this, $55 to $60 range here now for a couple weeks. And eventually we're just either going to break up or we're going to break down. And what I wanted to bring to you today was some very important things that I was seeing more long term than short term. So in short term, there's not a ton happening, guys. I'll get into it a little bit, but right now we're not having a ton of price action. So I think it's important to go back and kind of pick out clues and things to see if we really believe that the Litecoin bottom is in. Have we really changed? And guys, another question I was going to ask you guys that I myself, am dealing with is, do you feel as though Litecoin will ever see that $22 again? Do you think we'll have a double bottom off there? Do you feel like we'll start losing some of these main trend lines where we've had that short to intermediate term uptrend? Or do you believe that this here, where we had this switch, that slow switch there of supply and demand, that was the change? That was the bottom right there. And now we're just slowly going to continue to climb up, and obviously have pullbacks along the way. But we have finally gotten out of that bear market for Litecoin. Do you believe that? So that's what I want you to put down low. Guys, I'm still indifferent. I don't believe that we're probably going to see a $22 Litecoin again or lower. I see us getting down to around that $45, $40 range with a really good healthy pullback if we do have one at this point. But guys, $22 Litecoin, I just don't know if we're going to see it again. And I'm going to get into some of the reasons why I do believe the bottom most likely is in for Litecoin. All right. And remember, anything can happen with Bitcoin, though. That's the thing. With Bitcoin, we have not gotten up above that 200-day moving average yet. With Litecoin, we have. And Bitcoin's the main driver. So that's where, I'm hesitant to say, yeah, the bottom's in for Litecoin. If Litecoin was just by itself and it was just, that you didn't have to worry about Bitcoin, that's a different story. But we have to worry about Bitcoin and we have to take that into consideration. But I'm going to show you some important things that I'm seeing here. We're going to dive into the moving averages. I've read a lot about moving averages yesterday in terms of the short-term effect, the long-term effect, when they're effective, when they're not effective, and that's what we're going to get into today. And if you guys could like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm trying for 100 likes on this video. You guys have been killing it for me, and I'm very appreciative. So what we're looking at here, guys, first we're going to start out with this 200-day moving average, and that's in pink here. All right, let me get my pointer here. So we lost the 200-day moving average. We actually sunk below it in May 2018. We were below it until just recently, guys, when we got up above it here in that January-February mark. So the fact that Litecoin is up above and was having significant closes up above that 200-day moving average, that's that longer-term investors moving average. And most likely we're going to find good strong support on that if we do have a pullback, and that would be around that $43 range. That's where I am looking to go long personally. If we get back down to that $43 range and we're getting good volume, good support off that 200-day moving average, I think that would be a phenomenal place to go long for the long term in terms of holding them until the potential next top of that bull market if you're a long-term holder. Obviously, if you're trading, you can do swings, different things like that, but that would be a phenomenal time to get in if we do find support off that, okay? So it would be support off $43, then it would be the 100 moving average at that $38. Those are kind of the main ranges that I'm looking at if we do have this healthy correction. But since May, we were underneath that and we're finally up above that, so that's one major bullish thing. The next thing is the 100-day moving average. We are now officially up above that as well, and that was at that 38.95. So that's another bullish thing, right? We're up above the 50 moving average, which is at $46 where we could potentially have a bounce. That's another bullish thing, and we're also above that 20 EMA, guys. So we're up above all the critical moving averages for Litecoin right now. That's amazing, guys. Really realize how special that is, because for so long, even this 20 EMA here in green, we for real lost this around December of 2017, and we poked up above it a couple times, but we kept losing it. And then for the longest time, it was acting as overhead resistance, and now we're treating it as very strong support. If you zoom in on the 1 day, we have not wanted to give it up yet. And that's what it would be. First, we would lose the 20 EMA, then we'd lose the 50, then we'd lose the 100, and then the 200. And that's just the way it worked to the bearish side. Just like moving up, you have to get over the 20 EMA, then you have to get over the 50, then you have to get over the 100, then the 200. And we're up above all those with Litecoin. And you know, it doesn't surprise me, guys. Litecoin, in my opinion, I know people give me flack about it. I really believe it is the best community out there, and it's probably one of the best projects out there. It's top 5. In terms of communities, I think Litecoin has one of the best communities. Digibyte has one of the best communities, and obviously Bitcoin. But I really believe Litecoin is something special, and there's not a ton of them. There's 84 million or 82 million that'll ever be mined with the halving coming up. So I don't know if we'll see that $22 again. I really don't, guys. I wouldn't be banking on it. Let's just say that. I would not say, hey, I'm not going to buy until $22, because you may never see it again, just so you know. Remember, that's not financial advice. But you know, we were pushed down for so long from this 20 EMA. We're finally up above it. The 50 we've been trapped under for so long. We're finally up above it. The 100 finally up above it. And the monstrous 200, we're finally up above it, guys. And that's what happened. You see, when we were in this bull market here, what happened? We were treating all these moving averages as support until we finally lost them. And that was the sign we should have gotten out. Knowing what we know now, obviously, we could do things a little bit different. But you can see that transition and that switch and all the golden crosses that took place. And a golden cross is a shorter term moving average crossing over a longer term moving average. So a beautiful example of this is that 50 moving average crossing up above that 200-day moving average. That is beautiful, guys. That's what you want to see. And then on the opposite, you would have that death cross where you're having the longer term cross down over top of the shorter term, which you don't want to see. But we've had all these crosses, and now we've just been moving up. You can see that supply and demand shift. We had that last really big plunge on high volume. Whenever you see a huge plunge like that on high volume, most likely that move has ended, and you're going to start getting that switch. And we followed that little head and shoulders pattern there, inverse head and shoulders, for a while, and it actually did end up basically panning out because we kept moving forward and we dug ourselves out of this hole that we were in for Litecoin. So now on the 1 day, what we're looking at here, all right, guys, this is our 20 EMA. Like I said, we've just been treating that as very strong support. See that? We got a big bullish engulfing candle off that. We've just been really doing well with that 20 EMA. So first, we're going to see if we can continue to hold this. Right now, it looks like with this little hammer candle almost that we're putting in here, that it'll want to continue to move up a little bit higher and maybe test up here around that 61 or 62. That's what it's looking like right now, guys, because you even saw right now how we came down in here. Didn't even make it to the 20 EMA, and then we had that next shot up. And that looks like what it's trying to do now. We're going to have to pay attention to the candle close today, if we close up above this candle from yesterday or not. That's going to be a telltale sign, all right? But what I'm seeing more so on the bearish side that could potentially show a little bit of a rollover, that retracement that we've been looking for, is the RSI. All right, so with the RSI, our price has continuously went up hard, guys. I mean, this is a big move. So from $32 all the way up to $62, and our RSI has essentially stayed the same or actually went down. You see that? So that also shows me that we could potentially still have a little bit more of a test of, you know, maybe this white trend line that I've had drawn for quite a while now, or down here in this zone. So if I draw a box, guys, let me grab this. Let me see here. So here's our rectangle. This is my sweet spot right here. This is what I'm looking at in terms of a longing position. And I've learned to be very patient. Guys, that's what you have to do. Patience is key. But that's my zone. That's what I'm looking at to see if Litecoin can have a nice, healthy pullback down into this range around that 200-day moving average, that 50 moving average. And we want to keep this intermediate term uptrend, this yellow trend line. That is so crucial that we don't start having closes below that. Then we definitely could start rolling over, guys. But right now, in terms of support, we're looking at the 20 EMA as support. We're looking at this white trend line I've had as support. We're looking at the 50 moving average as support. We're looking at the 200-day moving average as support. And we're looking at this lower trend line that's coinciding with the 100-day moving average as support. So we have a ton of support built up right now. Now, in terms of overhead resistances and why we still may need this cool-off period is due to this right here, guys. Take a look. This is a huge box of overhead resistance right in this area right here. That's going to be very, very hard overhead resistance to get up over. And let's turn that to red just so you see. So what happened here, it was almost like that descending triangle that we had in this area. Descending triangle that broke to the downside. All right, you saw that in Bitcoin, how what you're having are these lower highs coming, and then you have more of a flat bottom, which this one isn't necessarily flat. What we would do, we would put a horizontal line right there, or a ray right there, and then you would see this trend line. We'd take it from up in here, pull it down through there, and you see that's kind of your descending triangle that happened, and we broke to the downside. You see that break, this strong candle? That's how you knew when that candle closed to get the heck out of there. All right, descending triangles about 70% of the time will break to the downside. Always be aware of that. Now let me clear that off. So this was a very strong overhead resistance. That area, guys, from I'd say about that $61, $62 all the way up to around that $70. Now, if we are to get over top of that, then there's a lot of possibility to run. Okay, so we get over 70, we could run all the way up even to this area around that $90. So there's some space because of how far and how fast we fell here. Okay, keep that in mind. And another thing I just saw here that I want to give you guys some pointers on. Remember, whenever you see these really long wicks at the bottom, guys, most likely you're going to have that reaction up. Long wick, you know, hammer candle here, you moved up. Same with at the top. So like when we saw those tweezer tops here, you would think that there would have even been a larger pullback. I'm surprised we didn't get a larger pullback with where the RSI has been, but we tried up again, and now we're getting another wick up there. So we got to keep that in mind. But the tweezer tops I was telling you about, these two tweezer tops that look similar to the ones we put in down here, do you see them right up here at $185? After that, we saw those tweezer tops. We just fell and fell and fell and fell and did not stop since May. We made lower lows and lower lower highs and lower lows consistently, and you can see them here where we were just having such rejection off this 20-day EMA. And you see the death cross, guys, of this 20 EMA over top of the 50 right there. That's another sign to get out. So what I'm doing on days like this, look here, as I'm seeing it, guys, long wicks, and then we bounced up. So pay attention to wicks. They're called wicks or tails. They're very important. But, you know, just stepping back and looking at these patterns, looking at these moving averages, these are the things that you want to do, especially when the market's just kind of moving sideways, guys. In terms of cryptocurrency, we have not had the volatility. There's a lot of traders who are itching right now, I promise you, who are basically gamblers, and they just love gambling and they love being in positions, who cannot control themselves right now. You know, I'm a guy right now, I am sitting, I told you I sold my Litecoin, I think it was at 55.79, right around that range. I took profits, and it was around those tweezer tops right there, and I said, you know what, I'm going to be patient, I'm going to see and wait for this pullback, and we're going to see what happens. And to me, being in cash right now is a very good feeling, because anything could happen. Yeah, we could break up, and that's okay. I look for another trader, I'll catch it on the backside. Or, you know, we really could have that pullback down into this area, and then we'll be rewarded with more coins. Because if you sell off around 56 and you can buy back around 46, then you're making more coin, and that's the name of the game. That's what we want to do, guys. So today is all just about stepping back, paying attention. I'm looking for more of a pullback. We haven't got it yet. You know, there's a lot of support with these moving averages, but we're going to have to see what's to come. Remember, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a guy stepping back, looking at the charts, showing you the bullish, the bearish side of things, and what potentially could happen in this market. That's what we're looking at. So we're going to see if today's close is higher than yesterday's, and if we're going to continue to move up and test this high there around that $61 or so, $62, or if we're just going to start rolling over and we're going to lose this white trend line. Those are the things I'm looking for today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you like what we do here. God bless each and every one of you, and I look forward to hopefully putting out a tutorial maybe later today of another chart pattern. So keep an eye out for that. Take care, my friends.